Giannis is back. I knew it, by the way. This is so good. Okay, so you were there with your friend too.
No, I actually, yes, but she's my friend. I went with my wife last night. She
Oh, you took your
wanted to,
wife?
yeah, she wanted to go to a game,
I thought you
and
were going with the guy that your friend.
yeah, I was at first, and then I can say this because she's in her classroom right now. But yeah, I kind of asked him before I asked her, and then I told her I was going to the game, and she was like, "Well, I would have liked to go," and I said, "All right, you can go." And then I called my boy back, and I told him, and of course, he's like, "Yeah, you got to take your wife over me."
Oh
So
my god. Okay, so I'm glad that you're looking at the time because the time that I can talk about Jason is any time before 4:30.
okay,
And but then Telly, I'm gonna warn you, there's spies.
there's
Oh
spies
yeah,
that's gonna
that will
go
that
back and tell.
the
Yeah,
little peepers will go over and then tell your wife what you said on the air, and it happens to me all the time. And I just
but
blow it
but
off.
she was happy though.
Okay, what
We
did she think?
enjoyed a rare night out. So when I worked for the Bucks, she people would think she would always come to the games, and it was the exact opposite. She didn't like coming to the games because she would say, it was just it's too much to park and it's cold and yada yada yada. And at the time we had younger kids, and she said, I just don't want to have to lug them around. I would much rather just stay at home and watch you and watch your pre and post game show and
Oh,
support you that way. So she has never really was one of those spouses that
enjoy
we
it.
had to go to every game. I mean, she would go to like a handful a year, and that would be a good year, and she would be cool with that. So for her last night, it was just kind of cool to just kind of go out, and it was just us, and we just hung out. So yeah,
Can I play one of his good plays?
absolutely,
Okay,
I saw it in person.
listen to this one.
Vucevic unable to hit it, missed it short. Giannis rumbling the other way. He's back in and he stuffs it down. That's one way of
that?
getting your offense going again. A little raw power
That was a
and
raw
athleticism right
dunk.
down the
Oh
part of the
yeah,
defense.
when it happened, I even had the reaction. I was like, "Oh my gosh," So yeah, it was good to see Giannis out there and in staggering minutes. It's kind of difficult for not just fans to get used to him being out on the court and then having to go back to the bench, but for a player, it's hard to get your rhythm when you always got to keep looking at the clock saying, all right, I only got 8 more minutes. They're going to let me play. And that medical staff is going to stick to that minutes restriction. So last night, 19 points, 11 rebounds. And the one thing that I realized last night was I felt like Giannis could just roll out of bed and put 20
Mm.
points up in an NBA game. And for a lot of people, to score 20 points in an NBA game is a career moment for them. And for Giannis, he could do that basically right after a nap, it looks like. And so for him to miss 5 weeks, and just like I just talked about, having his play interrupted, having to go back and forth on the bench to make sure his numbers, his minutes are where they need to be, and still end up with a double double.
That's so great.
I mean, that is a 19 points and 11 rebounds is an exceptional night for a lot of NBA players.
Oh
And
my
for
gosh.
Giannis, that was just kind of getting like knocking the rust off.
Right? Oh,
So,
I love that.
I mean, that was one thing. Just watching that game last night, I realized. I said, "Now this is different
It's so
because
special.
because most people, if you miss 5 weeks of doing anything, it doesn't matter what your profession
Right,
is.
when you're back from work and you feel like you have 8 arms.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. And for him
Wow.
to not play in an NBA game in 5 weeks, there's only so much you could do on a treadmill that can prepare you for an NBA game.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Telly. It's
So,
amazing. We'll talk more about it and we'll keep that one part on the DL once we talk about it again at 4:36.
yeah, let's do that.
It's 3:44 on WTMJ.